Want to pick up new choreography super fast? Here are 7 tips to learn new material and drill it like a pro. Tip number 1, repeat, repeat, repeat. Think of it as a game of just trying to fit in as many good quality repetitions as you can in the shortest amount of time possible. If your teacher is taking the time to walk over to the sound system, find the music, hit play, that 30 seconds, 1 minute time, you could be fitting in a lot more repetitions of practice. And one more note about this, don't think about repeating as having to start at the beginning every single time. You'll get really good at the beginning and then not so good at the end. You actually want to focus in much smaller chunks, and that really depends on you and your mental capacity and learning speed. Tip number 2, use speed control to your advantage. So one example, if you find that when you're learning new material, it just feels way too fast, then feel free to slow it down. Even just a tiny bit really allows your brain and your body to just relax a little bit so that you can focus on learning the new material. And you can use this same concept of slowing things down even if you're in a live classroom. So for example, you could ask your teacher to slow it down. I'm sure other students around you are feeling the same thing. You can also, when you have those little micro moments that I was mentioning where you can add in more repetitions, squeeze more of them in, do it at a slower pace that allow your brain to catch up. The second thing it does is it allows you to practice your full range of motion and really helps with the building of quality of movement in your muscle memory. So for example, if I am trying to do a squat in a routine and when the music is fast, I can maybe go here. If I slow it down just a little bit and I practice going here, when it goes fast, once I've built that muscle memory, I can go fast and get that full range of motion. When you are slowing things down, because oftentimes students will use the slowing down as a way to sort of phone it in a little bit, where you can kind of mark it and you take it easy because it's slow. I actually find that dancing things slow to be just as physically difficult because when I'm going even slower than the piece of material normally is, I'm practicing my movement and my quality, and I'm looking if I have a mirror at exactly how I want the shapes of the body to go, so really utilize that slow tempo. Tip number 3, identify and simplify the basic movements and flow underneath all that fanciness. So instead of going straight for the masterpiece, think about going after the skeleton, the idea, first. For example, in the piece of choreography that you're learning and drilling, you have to work on a Charleston. Now, maybe the Charleston in the routine is super fancy. Just worry in the beginning about your Charleston, because for me, I know that when I do my basic Charleston, it comes with an upper body twist and a swinging of the arms. So I'm going to be doing the choreography in the beginning like that, and then I'm going to be slowly working towards adding all of those embellishments. If you don't find that doing that is actually easier or helping you, you probably haven't spent enough time in your dancing journey to actually build your foundation in building the muscle memory of those movements. And the second note is to move through this stage as quickly as possible because you don't want to build muscle memory of the basic form of choreography. You just want to use it more as a stepping stone. All right, so all of this leads me to tip number 4, simplify in order to move forward. So this is really going to help you, especially if you need to keep up in a classroom type setting. So for example, in our latest Jorbita routine, we have a piece in the choreography where we have to go from here and then kick out of it. When we were training this, I couldn't really get the turn and then kicking out with the right. So what I did in the beginning is I would mark the kick. And then when I felt ready, I went in and I practiced using repetition, adding the turn back in. Tip number 5, learn how to stack on new material at your individual pace. When a teacher is leading a class, for example, they probably already set a certain pace of their own and when they want to introduce more and more material. But that's what they think works for them and works for the majority of people, and it may not work for you. I know that if it's a really basic piece of material, say it's using really basic steps, not really any styling, I could learn a phrase, even 2 phrases of, say, the shim sham at a time. But if I have a more highly rhythmical, syncopated, complicated type piece of choreography, I can only handle really about 4 beats. It's not a lot. Now, I can move through 4 beats really fast. I could be like, show me 4 beats. Ba-da-da-da. Done. Show me the next 4 beats. Da-da-da-da-da. Show me an 8 count. What just happened? The fact that I know my own pacing and how I can stack, how much I can stack, I communicate that, whether if I'm on my own, I can control my learning experience obviously that way. If I'm working with a partner, I can verbally communicate that. And if I'm working in a classroom, I can respectfully and appropriately talk to my teacher and ask and kind of manage things that way. And so just utilizing that knowledge to your advantage will actually help you to learn material faster. Tip number 6, use your voice. Now, vocal cues are one of the most powerful learning tools that you can use beyond just learning and drilling a new piece of choreography. In fact, if you're not using vocal cues, you guaranteed are not being as efficient in your practice as you can be. There are a lot of different ways to focus what you're saying towards what you want to practice and what you want to get better at. Oftentimes with swing dancing, we usually hear just a generic scatting, but what else can we use? It could be, if you're working on footwork and you're trying to memorize that, it could be right, left, ball change, step, kick, step, right, forward, backward, turn around, up, down, stretch the hips, twist the body, and so forth. So really think about and what's your singular focus in that new piece of choreography that you're trying to get down, and think of what vocal cues that you can use to help you lock it down. Tip number 7, try online learning if you haven't already. Online learning is proving to be just as important and essential to your learning. So for example, I've even had students who have wrote into us saying that they've had years of plateaus that they've been able to smash by just putting themselves into an online environment and really empowering their own dancing. Now, why is it so empowering? Well, you don't have the teacher there to hold your hand. Now, you might have all the answers there on the screen, especially if the educational material is awesome, #Rhythmjuice, but it's up to you to ask the right questions, ask smart questions, and look and find the answers that you are seeking. Now, it might be incredibly frustrating in the beginning to do this, but it will empower you way more than potentially a live classroom setting will do. So, if you haven't gotten the hint already, you can try rhythmjuice.com. We are an online swing dance school where we just love to help dancers to just really empower their learning experience, their practice time, and just have amazing dances out on the social dance floor when those come back. All right, so I would love to know from you now, what ways do you utilize to help empower your learning process, especially in regards to learning choreography and material fast? What tools have I not talked about? I want to know. Let me know. Comment below. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to get more videos like this.